What up YouTube, welcome back. Today I'm going to be reflashing, as I said in the previous video, reflashing and reinstalling, setting up dual boot on my Steam Deck. And I just wanted to talk about this first part and what are the things you're going to need. So one USB drive is 8 GB, at least 4 GB for the GParted, for the partitioning of the hard drive, but this is an 8 gig, a 4 gig, and I have a 32 gig SD card that I'm going to be using. Doesn't really, just as long as it's 8 gig or better, but just for convenience purposes, this is all I have available for 3 USBs. And obviously you're going to need your Steam Deck. Maybe a dongle. I have a dock, the JSOCs. Wait, where is it? Oh, I'm sorry, this one. Jesus. Get that out. Also a dock. JSOCs. And okay, so from here we're gonna jump over to the alright, so let's jump over to the desktop and show you what you need software wise. I'll provide all the links for everything needed for this process. Also, to explain real quick the reason why I have 2 dongles available is because sometimes one dongle doesn't register some of my boot drives, and so I just like to have 2 options available. Some of these things are finicky when it comes to booting, like with the JSOCs, as far as docking, works fine for the docking purposes as a third-party dock, but sometimes booting, it's a little finicky, so I have this for that purpose. And also, one more thing I did not mention, keyboard and mouse. I have a wireless keyboard and mouse with a dongle that I'll stick on here. I'm gonna keep it rolling, man. I'm gonna edit all this out. Okay. And the dongle for that. Alright, so let's move over to the PC side of things and take care of the software. Alright, we're on the PC, so the first thing I'm going to do is stick in my 4 gig for GParted. Now, this is assuming you have all your SD cards freshly formatted FAT32 ready to go. I already do, so let's go ahead and open Rufus. I have the portable version. Where is the portable version? There it is. Okay, we're gonna select the drive. Of course, it's the only one I have installed. Right there's the 4 gig. I mean, you know, in the on the hub. Go to your downloads where you downloaded the GParted. You click on that link. I'm gonna click yes. So if you do get that error, I might just edit this part out. We'll see how that goes. See if it installs. After this portion, we're going to move back over to the Steam Deck and reformat the partition. I'm going to literally nuke the drive, take off the dual boot setup that you've seen in my last video. Now, if you already have your drive ready to go, you can skip ahead to the part 1 of the process to start reflashing. This portion of the video is for if you want to go ahead and reflash. You know, this, I mean, I'm starting from fresh. recording. I'll edit all this out in post-production. My mistake last time is that I kept stopping record when I got interrupted, rather than just let it go as a raw file and then come back and just cut out the pieces. So I'm just gonna let it rock. I don't care if it's an 8 GB file. And hopefully it. I remember last time I had that issue, but you know what? Like I said, I'm gonna keep recording throughout this whole process. I'm gonna keep recording. Okay, it's done. Now we're gonna pull that drive out. Of course, we want to do that safely. Eject mass storage device. And remove the drive. This part's going to be a little funny because given that it boots, cross my fingers, if it does, it starts up in landscape, portrait mode, so very hard to see the screen. Turn it to the side, I don't know if I'll be able to see it. Okay, in order to start this process, I have the dongle here, ready to go, installed. In order to start select the USB drive to boot, you want to hold down the volume down and power button. Tap the power button while you're holding the power down. Tap the volume, hold down the power. Oh my god, let me do that again. Alright, so what you're going to want to do is, in order to select the bootloader, in order to select the USB drive, you're going to want to hold volume down and tap the power button until you see the Steam logo, and then let go of the power button, keeping your hand on the volume down. Chime. Logo, let go. And from here, I'm gonna select the 4 GB drive I just installed. I just flashed. See if you can see that there. There we go. A little better. Alright. I'll go ahead and boot from that. GParted starts up. Turn it this way just so you guys can see a little bit just so you guys. Enter there. Yeah, I'm sorry if it's not that clear here. A couple more screens. I can turn it back this way just for a sec before the OS loads up. A couple more screens I have to enter through. It's going to ask me about language and stuff like that. Here it's going to say keyboard mapping. Don't touch keyboard map. So you're going to enter. Gonna ask for the language. The default language is English 33, so I'm gonna keep it right there. Press enter. Which mode do you prefer? Continue to X, use GParted automatically, run for video, and 0 is continue to GParted. This is the automatic version. This is the GUI. You press enter for 0 and it's gonna load up into the GUI. Only one thing is, like I said, it turns portrait, so trying to get it all on screen so you can see it. I did install there it is. I did install an anti-glare mated screen, which makes it look like the 512 gig model. I do have a 512 gig internal, but that's not what's. Ooh, wait a minute! I just realized I have the SD card installed too. Okay, let me select a different device here. Here, let me put this up there. Sorry. These are the different devices. I do have an SD card installed. This is 47694 is my SD card, definitely. Yeah. I'm probably gonna partition both. 512. I'm gonna split it down the middle. 256. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete all these partitions. Of course, you different use case. You might have already you might already have a flat I'm sorry, brand new hard drive. I'm deleting all these partitions here, and I'm gonna create a new ext4 partition, and I'm gonna partition it. I'm totally nuking the drive, dude. You believe it? Okay. Now, I'm gonna do a new partition, primary, ext4. But I'm gonna bring it down to about right there. Now this may not work with the SD card situation, but I'm just giving it a try. Give half of it to Windows, half of it to SteamOS. Now this is the SD card. The internal, I'm gonna do the same thing. Pretty much split it down the middle because of the reason I use SteamOS mainly for a few Steam library games and mainly emulation. But I play a lot of Windows games like shooters, first-person shooters, and things that don't run on the SteamOS. So I'm gonna do another ext4, and this one will be for Windows. Hit check to complete the operation. Like I said, these are just extra steps I'm taking because I'm redoing this process all over again. But if you already have your drive flashed and ready to go, you can skip ahead through all this, and I'll try to provide a timestamp to where you can just skip ahead to the video, to the portion of the video where I'm doing the install. Okay, it's done. With that was the SD card. Now I'm gonna do the internal. New. Like I said, I'm gonna do the same thing to where, okay, the total size is 488, so I'm gonna give it 244. Like even. Bam. Add. Oh no, I'm sorry. I can't do that. I'm sorry. Let me undo that. I have to make a new internal. I have to partition it afterwards. That's how we're gonna do it. If you have any questions, ask me in the comments. I know it's hard to read the GParted screen and this screen the way I'm doing it right here. Excuse me. No, I don't know if I had to do the partition on the SD. I could have done the same thing I'm doing right now. Taking a long time. There it is, it's done. Okay, now the next portion of the video, I'm gonna get a USB ready for SteamOS reflash. Close out of this, double tap exit, com. Okay. Alright, let's head over to the PC and configure SteamOS USB. I was using this to transfer all my games. Look at all the games I got PSP. Alright. But this drive is getting destroyed. So I'm going to use my Raspberry Pi just to image it. You can use whatever you need. SD card reader. Here, wait, I can use SD card reader as well. I'm not going to update it right now, so I'm going to do a quick format E. Now that was just a format. I'm going to go ahead and use the Raspberry Pi imager to double do it. Why not? Alright, back to Rufus. Open up Rufus. Select the drive. In my case, it's 256 SD. I'm going to use that for SteamOS installation. I'm going to re-image it. Select the Steam Deck recovery image you downloaded from the link below. And hit start and wait for it to finish. Fast forward to this part a little bit. I've never really made such an intricate, really in-depth tutorial, so I didn't write no script. Being that I'm doing this process for myself, that I have to do it, I'm just winging it. I'm just gonna go ahead and just, no script, just similar to a stream. That's why I'm using Streamlabs. Okay, yeah, this is gonna take a minute. So I'll fast forward the video. All right, all done. Now we can move back over to the Steam Deck and get to reimaging Steam OS. But before I do, I just want to say that 3 USBs is not necessarily needed. You can do it with 1. However, the process is just a little longer as you have to reformat and re-image each time you're going to use either GParted, SteamOS, or Windows. Also, you want to keep a SteamOS when the process is done, SteamOS recovery, because you're going to need it to disable Windows bootloader to go to your custom bootloader later on. Alright, so let's go ahead and move on to the Steam Deck. Thought it was done. Alright, all done. So we're gonna head back over to the Steam Deck to re-image the SteamOS onto the hard drive we just formatted. But before I do, I just want to say that you don't necessarily need 3 USBs to do this. However, if you just use 1, the process is gonna take longer because you have to re-flash and reformat the drive every time you do. You use either GParted, Windows, or SteamOS. But at the end of the process, you're gonna wanna leave. Once you install the 2 OSs, you still want to have a recovery Steam drive, so you'll be able to disable Windows bootloader and use your custom. Alright, so let's move over to the Steam Deck and boot Steam recovery. Same thing, volume down, hold, tap the power button, keep holding the volume down. You see the logo, let go, boots in the custom bootloader. USB mass storage. This may take a while. Could be that it's reading the new formatted drive. Alright, so I had to scrap that last part because this USB and the SD card for some reason didn't boot after I flashed SteamOS on it. So I didn't use this, I just bypassed this. And I use this now, the 8GB USB, normal USB instead of an SD card. I'm gonna use it together with the adapter, plug it in and see if this boots. Press the whole volume down. Hopefully this boots and I can re-image the Steam Deck. If not, ooh, I'm in a world of issues. So far so good. Usually takes a long time, we'll see. If it does, I'm just gonna go ahead and let it rock. Maybe I'll just fast forward this part or just cut through it. But I'm definitely gonna let it just keep going. I was told this took a very long time, so that could be what it was, is that I was impatient and I just went ahead and shut it down thinking it was maybe my dongles or something was not, you know, working correctly. But I'm gonna go ahead and let this rock. I got the logo. We're, you know, smooth sailing so far, except that it's taking a while. It is. Alright, from here we're gonna re-image the hard drive. Then jump into partitioning. Now, rather than use the tiny 11 ISO that I have, I'm going to go ahead and use the Windows Media Creation tool so I can get the 21H2 version of Windows 11 rather than the 22H2, which was what the whole reason why I'm doing this right now. Everything's taking a long time, it's a long process. Excuse me for my voice being like this. I am super tired, man. A long night. Here we go, it's starting up here. "12 minutes later. You can actually hear the trackpad. Yeah, you probably can't hear it on screen. I don't know if you heard that. Come on, buddy. Focusing. Come on, start up, buddy. Come on, buddy. I heard this take a long time, but wow. Yeah, I don't think it took me this long the first time. I saw Steam logo pop up right there. Oh, that's not Steam logo. Oh, this takes forever. Alright, so after some finicking and a long waiting, it's starting up. It's still, the environment still hasn't completely started up yet. I'm still waiting. Alright, I saw this little box here. I guess I just gonna go ahead and click this because it's supposed to load up the whole environment. It hasn't done that yet. Let me see. I don't know if this is gonna take longer. Let's see what happens. This is becoming a pain. It's installing, I'm letting it do its thing. Even though the environment didn't totally load, I don't know what the issue is with that. We'll see how everything goes. Alright, it's done, and so I'm going to go ahead and choose to proceed to SteamOS. Reimaging complete. Choose proceed to reboot Steam Deck now or cancel. Let's check to see how this all went through. Everything went through good. I should be presented like it's a brand new Steam Deck. Starting up. I still have the drive plugged in. I don't necessarily need it. In the next portion, I'm gonna partition the hard drive, but I first want to boot into SteamOS, log in, make sure everything's working. It's first boot, so it usually takes a minute. And there we have it. She's starting up. I'm putting my Wi-Fi. It's installing all the, default apps and stuff like that. Just gotta be patient through this. I can go ahead and remove this now. This is where all the goodies are get installed on the update, because the official software, when this thing first came out, it was okay. But what they've done to this thing since it's come out has made this thing 1,000 times better. So right now, all the good stuff's getting installed there. So there it is, brand new Steam Deck, ready to go. Got the little tutorial going on. Shows you where the power button is. That's fun. And there's my library. Of course, I don't have nothing installed. Let's check the storage. E500 454.75 remaining. Alright. Now from here, I'm not going to do any more installing. I'm not going to install any games or anything. Show y'all layout. Now the next part of the video is the fun part. I'm going to go ahead and partition the drive and install Windows 11. So let's get the Windows Media 11. Let's get the Windows Media 11 creation tool ready on USB. So let's move back to the desktop. Let me just apply this update first. In the meantime, I can configure the Windows Media Creation tool that we just downloaded. Me personally, I'm going to use my Raspberry Pi imager just to erase the disk in FAT32, but you can use any drive manager, Balena Etcher, or Balena, whatever, or even Rufus, I think. But I like to just do this extra step before using Rufus and finding Windows Media Creation tool, or even SD card formatter. I'm not sure. No, not SD card formatter. All right. That's done. Now we're going to go to where we downloaded Windows Media Creation tool. Just want to make sure I'm still. Now, if you plan on installing Windows 11, this is an important part that you select. You want to agree here, accept, that you select the proper version. Otherwise, this it's going to defeat the purpose. I personally did this because I had I unchecked use recommended options for this PC. Reason being is because it's not going on this PC. Select next. You will need to burn the ISO file to a DVD. Okay, I'm gonna select the ISO part, not the USB flash drive, even though I'm using a flash drive, because I'm gonna use Rufus to then and burn it onto the drive. Excuse me. I'll go ahead and put it in a download folder. It didn't ask me what version. Maybe it does? I don't know. We'll see. Alright, from here we're going to select the Windows ISO image we just created. Standard Windows installation and start. Okay, that sounds good. We'll go ahead and disable data collection, skip privacy questions, but that's our preference. That'll be on you. We'll let that do its thing, and I'm going to go ahead and speed things up for time purposes. There's the chime. Select 4 GB hard drive. Oh, I have to shut it down. Reason being, I need my keyboard. Alright, here we go. GParted, ready to go. Wireless keyboard and mouse, plug that in. Press and hold. Tap the power. Select first selection. There's GParted. Press enter. I guess it doesn't have the proper driver for this. I mean, well, maybe it does. What I mean is it puts it in portrait mode rather than landscape when you're doing this process. Except for this part, I can turn it back normal for 1 sec before it loads up. Carefully. It's asking me if I want to add another key. And I put don't touch key map. Then here it asks you the language, which default is English, 33. Enter again. And I'm going to enter to select 0, which will start up the GUI. Rotate it back. There it goes, starting up. Should see the drive is, you can see this is the drive. All these other partitions you want to ignore. They're probably boot drives and swap files and stuff like that from the SteamOS. This is the drive right here we want to make sure. Yeah, this is the only drive I have in there right now, except for this 4 gig that's in here. So we're going to select this drive and we're going to resize this. Select resize. And I'm literally going to give it half of what it is. So it's 235. Right there. It's exactly in half. Let me refocus there. Then we're going to hit resize move. Now here we're going to create a new primary partition so it's recognized in Windows. Primary ext4. And we're going to go ahead and apply those operations. Now this will be on my Steam Deck. Now my Steam Deck, my SteamOS will not recognize the full. It'll recognize 233 of it, which is fine with me. I'm gonna partition the SD card to do the same thing between both OSs, so I don't have to remove. I have an extra 256, but I don't like removing it. I don't want to damage the drive or anything. Hit apply. Operations are completing. Okay, it's done. Now we can close this and boot into Windows. So we'll move on to the next step. Excuse me. I'm gonna go ahead and pop in that Windows Media Creation Tool drive I created. Excuse me. Readjust the camera. Oops. Alright. Got the drive in, ready to go. Hold volume down. Tap power. It sees my drive on the bottom. I'm going to select that one, which is my Windows drive. Windows start up. It's already been 4 hours making this video. Of course, I trimmed it down and paused a lot of it through a lot of the process. Here we go, spinning ball. Now it's gonna go portrait on me again. Touch works, so I do it. Set up this stuff. Say it's drive 9, is that really? Find out, yes. Pretty sure it's the one on the bottom. If not, I'm screwed. Needed that drive. Let's go back. I'm pretty sure it's this one is the way it has partition is selected for the installation. Just went ahead and okay through that. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause the video for the purposes of time. Starting to complete the process. Once this is done, you're able to go into the display settings and turn it back to landscape. But during the setup process, this is one of the things you have to deal with. Anything back. Here she goes, Windows 11. Okay, reboot it. Alrighty then. So we're gonna go ahead and do the normal process. Skip the keyboard. Normal keyboard layout. And in there. Skip it if I can. I want that 22H2. It would totally defeat the purpose. Going through another system reboot. Probably gonna skip the all right, let me sign in real quick. I'm going to set this up as a new device rather than restore it. Using PC, I want to do that right now. Decline. I don't want none of that bloat. I'm going to end up removing a lot of bloat anyway. I don't know, we'll see. So what we're gonna do here is just go to the display settings. Whoops. I don't need, yeah, I do need that. Display settings. And we're gonna change it from portrait to landscape. Changes. There we have it, folks. Windows 11. Let's go. All right. Now, in order to get into SteamOS, you have to press the volume down until we install the custom bootloader. I can remove this. I don't need this now. Now I want to make sure I didn't wipe out my Steam drive. Still shutting down. Okay, now it's down. Okay, in order to get back into SteamOS, you're gonna hold the volume down, press the power, and now you should see two options. Hopefully, there it is. We have SteamOS and Windows Boot Manager. Okay, so let's go into SteamOS just to make sure everything's working. Show you that it boots dual. Now that's the way to dual boot right now until I get to the portion of installing the custom bootloader. By the way, big shout out to JLobe10. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, and Deck Wizard for helping me get that part of this process complete. I'll give you a link to JLobe10's. There it is. Everything's there. JLobe10's bootloader in GitHub. But also look them up on all socials. Yeah, there it is. It's 125 gigs available for the Steam Deck. And there will be more on the SD card, but for right now, I just wanted to make sure that worked. Right? Down. Let's go back into Windows, and we're gonna install the drivers. I already have the drivers downloaded, but I'll leave all the links to everything, all the files you need in the description. Now I have a folder already. SD files right here. Steam Deck Windows drivers. I even actually have the controller drivers in this same folder, and I even added some wallpaper. This custom wallpaper to install after I install Windows, so I don't have to deal with it Windows 11. So I'm gonna go ahead and drag that folder onto the root of the Windows 11 media creation tool, the one that I use to install. I'm not going to boot from it. I'm simply going to I'm not going to boot from it. I'm simply going to use I'm not going to boot from it. I'm simply going to use it for storage purposes, just to drag and drop these files onto my index. Wait that to get complete. While that's doing that, I can boot into Windows by pressing down. Right now, Windows Boot Manager is the default boot manager, so if I wanted to go into SteamOS, I have to press and hold the volume down. If I want to go into Windows, I just press the power. I did it like that just now. I'm just waiting Where these files to drag and drop. What? I wonder if I had to do that. Alright, let's see if this is going to drag and dropping. Keep going. Alright, done there. Let's move over to the deck. And what I'll do is I'll just take this off. Open up that file, go to the Steam Deck folder that we dragged and dropped from the desktop. Let's install the APU driver first, and you can just click through the setup for all that. Click install. Install the code. I honestly think I got the wrong version of Windows, but I don't care about the front firing speakers. If they can update it, or it works in the future, I'll be fine with just plugging in my headphones. But hopefully not. Hopefully maybe I did fix the issue. I wanted to record this video anyway, so it's the only reason why I just went ahead and did it. Okay, I'm not going to restart yet. I'm going to continue installing other drivers. SD storage driver set up. not want to start my computer now. So I'm going to continue installing more. Bluetooth driver. Install driver. Yes. Now it shows that a Bluetooth drive, the Bluetooth is present, but I still install the driver given to me by Steam, just because it's got to be the more stable. Same with the wireless LAN. See, I'm connected to wireless LAN, but I'm going to go ahead and upgrade. Use the driver that was provided by Steam. Okay, now this next step, there's no setup file included with the drivers. So you have to install one by one in this manner. Just follow my steps. First is the CS folder. Click on that, and there's a little folder with a cogwheel. Right click on that and hit install. These are audio drivers. And we're gonna back up a folder and do the same thing with this one. Right click on the file with the little cogwheel, hit install. The front firing speakers work. Oh my god, did you hear that? Yes. I'm not updating Windows at all. Okay. Now, even though I had a lot of hiccups, I finally did it like 4 hours later. Now, just to share with you the experience I had and where I went wrong, it was the USB drive. I mean, the SD card I was using originally with the SteamOS, I don't know why it was just taking forever to load up. So now in the next process, now that the drivers are done, let me go ahead and restart the computer, but we're gonna go ahead and configure the bootloader so we don't have to press volume down and none of that other goodness. If I press power on, it should theoretically just go straight to Windows, because the Windows boot manager right now is the default boot manager until we change that. Yeah, it's going into Windows for sure. It is. Type in my PIN. There it is. She's ready to go. Now to get back into SteamOS, shut down. Put my hand over the fan, make sure it's shut down. Okay, press and hold the volume down. Power. Wait for the logo. Pops up. Let go of volume. Bootloader starts up, and you can select SteamOS. So let's do that. Just to reassure that everything went through smooth, and I have the GParted. I'm not messing with this. I'm going to leave this alone. This is my GParted in case I need to do any resizing of the drives, which I'm going to be doing with the SD card here. Alright, there it is. It's done. So the next step is going to be configuring the bootloader, and it is so sweet when it's done. So get ready for the next part. Alright, for this next part, you're going to want to boot into SteamOS. And once you do, you're going to exit game mode and go into desktop mode. is all fresh install of everything. So now what we're going to want to do here is so from here, we're going to want to go to Start, Settings, I'm sorry, go to Settings, Users, Steam Deck User, Administrator, Change Password. We're going to create a password, and let's just make it easy for educational purposes. Let's make it easy out. Confirm, hit set password, so that and this can change wallet password. I didn't need to change the wallet password. Okay. Now we're going to open up the browser. It's not installed. Once I hit it, it'll install. This is still a fresh install, I forgot. You can download Chrome if you want to do this part with Chrome. I'm just going to use the browser that's already with the OS. Installing. Okay, it's done. Now we can launch it. Close up Discovery. I'll put the link to JLobe10's GitHub so you can get this file. Let's go to Google. And it's that first link you see, that first GitHub. You want to go here. Right click on, oh wait, code. Click on the code and hit download zip. I'm going to extract the folder to the same location. Minimize this, make sure it's there. Okay, here it is. And we're going to go to Steam Deck install.sh. Running console. Okay, I might have did this wrong. To go down here to install, this is the way to do it. I'm sorry. Just copy this code here. This is the way to do it. I'm sorry. Okay, so you're gonna head over to JLobe's site, scroll down a little bit, and if you want to try out the GUI, perform these steps. I'm gonna copy the code and just open up a console. Paste, enter, now we're going to change over to that directory, cd, change directory file, messed up there a little bit. And now we're going to chmod that, the install, and then install it. Oops. I'm being lazy, I don't want to type it. This process just has to be done once. Once it's then you can use the GUI to configure the bootloader as you wish. As far as you can install different wallpaper, you can have different custom logos, you can triple boot. It's really cool, some of the things you can do. Please make sure a sudo password is did that. Enter password. We're gonna enter the password that we made. That's pretty easy to remember. Deck123. And it'll start the. It doesn't look like you're typing a password when you start typing, but it's typing. May give you a prompt to add a shortcut to the desktop, and we want to say yes. Do you want to copy our find icon onto the desktop? Yes. Enter. And it's done. Now we can close that out, close that out. Reifind the GUI is right here, and this is how you configure your bootloader. It detected Windows right here. So from here we're gonna install reifind, reifind. Gonna hit install and then hit our sudo password, which is the one that we made easier to remember, deck123. Hit enter. And now from here we can create different backgrounds. So for instance, we click Steam. If you click on, let me back out, I didn't really describe myself. So from here you can configure your bootloader to show different logos, different backgrounds. And I leave everything just the way it is, except I change the logo. When you hit browse there, go to Steam Deck folder, the reifind, whatever it's called. Hit themes, and then the background you would like. I'm gonna select that one, and then you can select a certain logo, but I'll leave everything default. After you're done configuring it, you're gonna create config, this button right here. and then install config. Doesn't seem like it did anything, but it did. So you're gonna install the config you just created, and then type in the sudo password you created. You might want to change the sudo password afterwards. I just named it dep123 for purposes of the tutorial and to make it easier. Your refined.config file, OS icons and background image were successfully moved to the refined folder on the ESP partition. So now Windows is still the default bootloader, and so I have to go using the SteamOS Reimaging software, the recovery. I have to boot into Steam Recovery and disable, but we can still use the changes we just made. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's power off. Sure, I'm gonna go ahead and restart and see what happens. There we have it. There goes our custom bootloader, Windows 11, Steam. Now, if I go into Windows, it's going to use the Windows bootloader every time after that. So, in order to disable that, we have to boot into Steam Recovery, and that's the part I'm going to get to now. Let me go ahead and shut this down. And finally, for the last part of the video, we're going to disable the Windows bootloader. So go ahead and boot back into your Steam Recovery. I've already done that here. We're going to open up a console. Whoops. I'll just double click this right here, terminal with repair tools. USB mode for some reason. Alright, now you're gonna type this code just the way you see it. I'm gonna go ahead and include this code. Shout out to DeckWizard for helping me out with this portion of the tutorial. Thank you so much, DeckWizard. I watch your videos all the time. And I love being a part of the Deck community, let me tell you. Alright, getting a little bit of a visual artifact there. Running from USB is sluggish. Okay, let's get in there. I can't even type that yet, so I have to wait. Alright, so type this code exactly. Like I said, I will include the code in the description. And you're going to type sudo efibootmgr efibootmgr, all one word, EFI. Press enter. You'll see a list that pops up that's going to show you all your current OSs in the bootloader. What you want to do, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit here. What you want to do is look for the Windows. Okay. You can see here 0003. You want to mark, note that number right there. 003 for the next portion. Okay. .003 is where our Windows boot manager is, and that's what we want to disable. So type this code: sudo efibootmgr space tac b space double or triple O 003 space tac capital A and enter. Now you can see there's no longer an asterisk around Windows Boot Manager, but we are completely done now. And that is, excuse me, that is it. We're done. We have totally completed re-imaging our 512 gig hard drive with SteamOS, partitioning the hard drive, splitting it in half to share with Windows, installing Windows, installing the drivers, installing a custom bootloader, and now disabling Windows Boot Manager. Now, this is an optional, well, it's not an optional step, I'm sorry. I'm going to boot back into Windows now. I'm going to go ahead and shut this down. Shut down. I'm going to boot back into I'm going to boot back into Windows and install the Steam controller drivers. So you don't need the Steam client. You can install the Steam client, but a lot of times I don't use the Steam client running in the background at the same time if I want to play Battle.net and certain games off of there. So I have another process of installing the Steam controller, and that is also going to be included. A link to that will also be included. Wait for it to completely shut down and we'll be good to go. Wow. Hope you guys have better luck with your USBs. I think this USB is taking a crap on me. Alright, let's see if our bootloader worked. Now there's no need to press the volume down or power. There it is. Our bootloader worked. Now I can go into Windows. Front firing speakers work. Type in my PIN. There it is. Alright, let me play Now I'm going to show you guys. So the next part is going to be the controller. Right now, I can use this, but that will get in the way of gaming, so I'm going to install these drivers for the Steam controller so all the buttons work. And I already have that in the folder that I dragged and dropped earlier. The Steam Deck driver folder. Wait a minute. There it is, Windows 11. Now let's boot back into Steam. I'm just going to press power and shut down. Shut down. Things still spinning, still shutting down. Now, no need to press power on or volume down, power on now because I installed the custom bootloader. Press the power. Not boot right in, it's going to boot right in my bootloader. Okay. And there we go, guys. That is it. This took about 6 hours of my day, let me tell you. If I could just explain a couple things before I get out of here. The one thing, just a few experiences from this whole thing, just a few little notes that I wanted to share with you guys. Like the one thing you must have is patience. Patience is key in this process because it's very, very tedious, and I almost gave up a couple times, but this thing is unbreakable, man. I love it. It's great. It's such a great device. Another thing, be very, I already said that about the being patient, but when you're reloading the Steam recovery, it takes a long time. I've heard other people in the videos say it takes a long time. It really does, so you have to be patient and wait for it to load to memory. Other than that, yeah, it's good to go. Thank you for watching my video, and like and subscribe if you want to see more. I need more incentive to make these videos, so if you like and subscribe, I appreciate that. Push that algorithm. Peace.